Hello everyone. Today we are going to start our third lecture of general anatomy. Here we will be learning about the skeletal system, everything about the skeletal system important in general anatomy. So let's get started. Here you can appreciate the structure. This is the human skeletal system. Human skeletal system is basically consist of 206 bones where it is divided into two parts. You should basically know this that the 206 bones in adult are divided into two parts. First is the axial skeleton and the second is the appendicular skeleton. But whenever you see the skeletal system in babies, the number of bones that will be getting increased, it is around 306 bones. And these bones get merged in adult age and becomes 206 bones. So now we have bifurcated these 206 bones into two categories. First is the axial skeletal, second is the appendicular skeletal. Now see, axial skeleton consists of 80 bones. Why it is called as the axial skeleton? Because it is present at the axis of the body and which is the medial part of the body. And it consists of 80 bones, 80 bones. And the 80 bones are present in the head and trunk. In head, the skull consists of two types of bones. First is the cranium bones, second is the facial bones. And then you can again appreciate these bones in the skull, which is hyoid, which is one bone, ear ossicles, which are six bones, each in right ear and left ear. The cranium, which I have written, that consists of eight bones, and the facial part that is consist of 14 bones. 14 bones. This is all about the head part. Now the thoracic region, the thoracic cage, it consists of ribs and sternum. The rib consists of 24 bones. We can call it as 12 pairs as well, 12 pairs of bones as well. And the sternum part consists of one bone. And the three bones which are present in the ear region, the right region and the left region, the name of that bones is malleus, incus, and stapes. We can remember this with a mnemonic MIS, 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 which is malleus, incus, stapes. After that, let's move on to the details of the axial skeleton. So I have told you the skull consists of cranium and the facial part. The cranium consists of 8 bones. The facial region consists of 14 bones. Higher region has one bone. The ear ossicles, which are present at the both side of the ear, each consisting of 3 bones, malleus, incus, steps. They are 6 bones. Then we can appreciate the thoracic region. The thoracic region consists of 24 bones of ribs, one bone of sternum, and finally we can tell the vertebrae. In children, this vertebrae consists of 31 bones, but while growing up into the adult age, these bones fuses together to form a single bone and gets constricted to 26. So the adult human consists of 26 vertebrae. After that, we'll move on to the bones of the cranium and the facial structures, which we will be going to learn in detail. So the cranium bones, which I have told you, they are 8 in number. So what is the name of each bone? The first bone, which you can appreciate on the anterior surface of the skull. You can see this is the bone which is present on the anterior, the front surface. This is called as the frontal bone. Just because it is present on the front region, it is the frontal bone. It is only single bone present here. And you can appreciate the temporal bone. Here, the bone which you can see on the both side of the skull. This is the temporal bone. Temporal bone, they are in pair, so we'll write it as two bones. Then you can appreciate the parietal bones here, this skull region. Here, these bones which you can appreciate are the parietal bones. These are also in pair. You can see a parietal bone here. You can see a parietal bone here. So they are in pair. So two bones. Occipital bone. Occipital bone is basically present at the back side of the head. So you can appreciate, you can touch it and feel that this is the occipital bone. It is a single bone, so only one bone is present. Then you can see the sphenoid bone. Sphenoid bone is basically present in the inner side from the nose region. You cannot directly see from outside or appreciate the structure, but after removing the facial bone, you can appreciate the sphenoid bone. It is also a single bone, so you can write it as one bone. Then you can see the ethmoid bone, which is also one in number. After looking at the cranial bones, we'll just appreciate the structure. Here you can see the minor bones as well. So this is the parietal bone. After that, this is the frontal bone. Then this is the frontal suture which is present here. These are the facial bones. After we have seen the cranial bones, now we are moving on to facial bones. In facial bones, you can appreciate this lacrimal bone, which is present near the ethmoid bone. Anterior to the lacrimal, here it is the lacrimal bone. You have another bone that is the nasal bone, and which is also supported by some cartilage. This is the elastic cartilage. It is flexible. So in front of the nasal bone, you can appreciate the cartilage as well. Here is the nasal bone. After that, you can see here the bone is, you can appreciate by touching it, is the zygomatic bone. You can see in the image as well. This is the maxillary bone, which has embedded of our upper teeth inside it. So that is the maxilla region. After that, this is the region which we use for chewing. The bone. This is the only bone which is movable inside the skull. That is called as the mandibular. So it is the mandible bone, which I can move here. Now you can appreciate this mandibular region. Here is the head of mandible. We are going to learn this mandible in detail because it is the only movable bone present here. So this is the oblique line of the mandibular bone. This is the oblique line. Here you can appreciate in structure. This is the oblique line. After that, you can see this. This is the alveolar part of the mandible. This region here. The region below it, it is the mental fossa. Mental fossa. Here is the mental protuberance. Protuberance basically means that the surface is popped out. It is not a clean surface. It is popped out. So that is the protuberance. Foramen is the surface where you can appreciate the hole there. That is the foramen. This is the protuberance. That you can appreciate here two structures. That is the alveoli. So these are the tooth sockets. Alveoli is also called as the tooth sockets here. This region which I am showing with my hand, this is the remnants of mandible. You can see in the structure that we will call it as the remnants of mandible. This is the condyle process which helps in adhering this jaw with the skull. Condyle process. And this is the coronal process which helps in extra stability. Now we will segregate all the facial bones that we have learned. Once again, we'll see. So we have 8 cranial bones and 14 facial bones. 8 cranial bones I have told you, which is frontal, parietal, occipital, temporal, and ethmoid bone. Apart from that, the facial bone we will be seeing. We have seen all the facial bones unofficially. Now we will see all in the structural format. This is the nasal bone. This nasal bone are in pair, so there are 2 nasal bones. Then this is zygomatic bone, which you can appreciate here. This is a zygomatic bone. These are also called as cheek bones, and it is present in pair, so you can write it as 2 number. Then you can see this is the maxilla region. You can say that this is the upper jaw, and it has embedded teeth inside it, sockets for teeth. So this is also true. This is the right mandible. This is the left. Sorry, this is the right maxilla. This is the left maxilla. The upper jawbone. These are also in pair. After that, you can appreciate this mandible region, which is the only movable part of the skull. This is the lower jaw. After that, you can see this palatine bone. Palatine bone. It is also present in pair. Oh, this is palatine. After that, the lacrimal bone near the eye region, which has the pair of lacrimal glands as well, which helps in the production of tears. That is the lacrimal bone. These are also in pair, so you can write it as two. Then this is the wormrin bone. It's present inside. You cannot basically see from this structure of skull, but this is present in the inside region, the wormrin. But and this is the only bone which is single after the mandible. Inferior nasal concha for appreciating this inferior. So after this inferior nasal concha, let's move on to the structure of vertebrae. We all know that the newborn has 33 pairs of vertebrae, 33 vertebrae, not pairs of vertebrae, 33 vertebrae. And in adults, these 33 vertebrae gets fused and form 26 vertebrae, 26 vertebrae. So in this, they are classified as seven cervical vertebrae, seven cervical vertebrae. It was present seven in children as well as seven in adults. Then the thoracic vertebrae, thoracic vertebrae. There were 12 in thoracic region in newborn as well as 12 in the primate, the vertebrate in adult. And there were five lumbar vertebrae in newborn as well as in adult. But the sacral vertebrae, and the sacral vertebrae, there were five sacral vertebrae in the newborn, but this vertebrae got fixed into one vertebrae. They all got fused and formed one vertebrae. Then the coccygeal vertebra. There are four coccygeal vertebrae initially, and now only one coccygeal vertebra is there. So they got fused. So this is how the vertebrae are classified. There are seven cervical vertebrae, 12 thoracic vertebrae, five lumbar vertebrae, one sacral vertebrae, one coccygeal vertebrae. Inside the adult, now we will see it with the diagram. This is the posterior view. And you can appreciate that this are the seven cervical vertebrae. So you can see here. After that, this is the thoracic vertebrae, which consists from T1 to T12. These are the five lumbar vertebrae. Five lumbar vertebrae. After that, these are the five sacral vertebrae, but this got fused and formed one sacral vertebra. This is now completely a one sacral vertebra. After that, you can see here the coccyx region. Here, the four bones which were present, they got fused into one. Now, this is the coccygeal vertebra. Now, in this, we are going to appreciate the axial skeleton of the thorax region. In thorax region, we all know that we have 12 pairs of ribs that consist of 24 bones in the real thing. So the ribs, they are 12 in pairs, means 12 each side, which are 24 bones. So the ribs are classified into two types. Sorry, first is the true ribs, and second is the false ribs. The true ribs are the ribs which are directly connected to the sternum. Sternum is it is a bone that gives connectivity to the ribs, and the bones which are not directly connected to the sternum, they are called as false bones, false ribs. Now in false ribs, they are categorized into two types: the ribs which are attached to the bones, which is the seventh rib, and the bones which are just floating, they are called as the floating ribs. So 8, 9, and 10th rib are directly attached to the seventh rib. They are not directly attached to the sternum, but they are attached to the seventh rib. So they are called as false ribs. And 11th and 12th, they are just floating. These are called as floating ribs, or this used to be called as gorilla ribs. because gorilla and we share the same ancestors and they have the same rib present inside them. In us, they are just vestigial organs right now, but it is very useful in gorillas. So this is all about the axial skeletal. Now we will be seeing the appendicular skeletal in the next part. Stay tuned. See you in next lecture.